Let's move on the map now to the state of California. Well, there's a huge river in the sky, an atmospheric river, and the floods are the reality there. Look at this. You can see right there the floodwaters just across the street from where we took that video. Sheriff's deputies were going door to door telling people to evacuate. This is just outside of San Francisco, California. We also have some images that come to us from the California Highway Patrol, but first of all, we're going to be talking about the San Francisco Bay Area, and you can see it is downright soupy there. That is the Golden Gate Bridge that connects the city of San Francisco to Marin County, if you know that area, Sausalito, Tiburon, San Rafael, and then wine country north from there. So all the way north to south. A lot of people in Northern California have really felt the impacts there on the west coast of that atmospheric river. But it is also dangerous further south. The California Highway Patrol, well, they just sent us this video right there. This is the result. Hey, all the rain comes down, loosens up the hillsides, and down the hillsides come. This photo came to us just moments ago, and it really shows you the impact. Just the rain soaks the ground gives way, and those massive rocks come tumbling down on the side of the roadway. Authorities there warning people exercise extreme caution while driving through that area. So let's talk about Los Angeles, because the rains also came down there, especially in those wildfire-ravaged areas of Los Angeles County where people who ran from the fire now are running from flood evacuation orders at this hour. In fact, you see that leaders in Los Angeles County, especially in this Altadena foothills area, telling people to get out if they feel they're at risk of mudslides and debris flows, and they are. And that's where we find CBS News Los Angeles' Rick Montanez. Rick, it's pretty soupy down there where you are, and I can also see some barriers there that keep some of those runoff from going down in the culvert there behind you.
Yeah, so Reed, we are in an area that's under an evacuation warning right now. The concrete barriers you see off to our side here, those are right off Lake Avenue, which is one of the main routes here in Altadena. So they're trying to keep water from going down that way. That is where a lot of the emergency crews, the construction crews that have been coming through here, trying to clear debris from these homes, trying to work through fixing a lot of the utilities and things like that that have been damaged from the fire. They've been using that road to get up here. News crews as well. So we've seen plenty of rain come down. It's picked up quite a bit in the last, I would say, 10 minutes. We had a pretty good break in the last hour and a half, but more heavier rain is in the forecast, and that is where the concern is for those charred hillsides you see behind us, that they could come down if they get too saturated, because there's nothing really holding them up, and they're very unstable right now.
Yeah, we can see it's just a soggy mess there, and our thoughts with so many people in Southern California, it's like they literally cannot catch a break. So for those people who end up evacuated, where do they go? Is it just repeating the same rescue efforts that happened during the fire, or are there new places that people can go?
You know, I think it's kind of the good that comes with the bad already, Reed, because there aren't many people who are living in these communities because again, utilities have still been down. So a lot of homeowners have to, if their homes survive the fires, they still have to clean up the inside because so many of the homes were damaged by smoke and soot. So a lot of people really aren't living up here, but we have been hearing that some of the evacuation warnings are extending out to areas that are not in the burn scar. So that is where then emergency crews would create these shelters, set up something new, something that they already have in place that we've seen happen time and time again. So they're certainly prepared for something like that to happen. But in these burn scar areas, very few people actually living in their homes if they're still standing. But again, they're hoping to keep their homes because they survived the fire. Hopefully they survive these storms.
My goodness. And Rick, I just have to ask you, you know, you have a burned home there behind you. There's been a lot of talk about the environmental impacts, the toxins in what is left over from a house fire, be it a car that burned, a gas tank that burned, a car battery that exploded. Talk to us about the risk when the rains come down, about the runoff relative to the toxins that are in these burned out homes.
So the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers have gone through phases of the cleanup. Phase 1, which they are largely done with, is the removal of hazardous waste. Those are batteries, propane tanks, things like that you were mentioning. And then phase 2 is the general debris, which is what they've started this week. Let's see if we could show you here for a second. If my photographer, Ernie Fuentes, can take us down here on the ground. You see a lot of the sandbags and then this piping, this green piping, that has been set out to absorb a lot of the toxins that are in the ash that are coming with the runoff. So they know that some of it's probably going to be sent down the road in this rain runoff because enough rain is coming down. But certainly they're doing what they can to try and mitigate that with these steps. And they are telling people here, don't touch these, don't move them. The EPA will come in here, environmental crews will come in here to remove those and properly dispose of them once we're done with these storms.
CBS News Los Angeles, in your reporting, be it from fire or floods, literally credited with saving lives and helping millions of Californians who literally ran from fire and now flood. Thank you to you, Reg. Thank you to your photographer, Ernie, for standing out in the rain. Please send our gratitude to your entire team down there at CBS News Los Angeles. Epic reporting and such important reporting. Great to see you, friend. So, folks in LA County hoping that they won't see a repeat of this after the rains clear. This was how it looked, and you probably remember this. This is Montecito in January of 2018. That's up north of LA in Santa Barbara County. Winter storms then, and you see the mud flows, the debris right there, hillsides of many, many mountain ranges in that area. It's because damage from the Toxin fire burned more than 281,000 acres, and what happens is it just loosens up the ground. So after those slides, we can tell you 23 people lost their lives, more than 100 homes were destroyed. So it's a very real risk. So let's bring in meteorologist Jessica Burch, because there is a science to what happens when fire comes in, dries things out, eats up the hillside. Explain that for us, Jess.
Well, the other thing to mention with that too is the rainfall rates, right? The big concern right now, I'm actually going to head over here so you can see this atmospheric river. If the rainfall rates stay consistent, and they are expected to see anywhere up to around 6 inches of rain, of course, it's debris flow and mudslides is the #1 concern for our community members down there. And we continue to keep a close eye on them as this atmospheric river really unfurls its way, not only in Southern California, but stretching its way up into the Bay Area, where they're expected to see about 4 inches of rain, all the way over into the Sierra too, and then stretched off into the Rockies throughout the next 48 hours as this area of low pressure starts to decay inland. Now, take a look behind me. It's Los Angeles that we're keeping a close eye on right now, because just from a month ago when these fires burned, Reed mentioned it perfectly. It loosens up that soil. These mudslides are potentially possible just within the next day, the next 24 hours. We're seeing some of the strongest winds, strongest rains all throughout these communities in areas that haven't even seen a lot of rain since the past year. I mean, we're talking about last April, May as the last substantial rain that Los Angeles and those higher hills have seen. So as we take a look at those burn scar areas, there's flood watches in effect right now, widespread throughout Southern California. And of course, we monitor those closely. This map will actually update in live time with those flood warnings. If we do see any, it'll highlight in red. And that's what we're concerned right now as meteorologists as we head into the next couple hours, watching these rainfall rates stay consistent, anywhere up to around 1/4 of an inch an hour. That could cause a lot of issues with the debris flow and of course that damaging flooding as well. So we keep a close eye on that map. We keep a close eye on those rain conditions as we head into the next 24 hours. But it definitely causes a lot of issues out there when you're seeing as much as we see in such a little packed amount of time.
It's really fascinating to me and super important to highlight that meteorology, well reported, literally can save lives, give people advance notice. Jess, thank you so much for that. When we come back,